Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so a question came in about a recent hiring to the Jack Smith legal team. Now, I haven't done many readings on Jack Smith recently, and I don't think I've done any readings on anybody on his legal team. So figured that I would dive into this one. This latest person was Alex Whiting, and he had worked alongside Jack Smith for 3 years, prosecuting crimes against humanity cases in Kosovo from the late 1990s. In addition to that, he has expertise in, he is a trial lawyer for those 3 war crimes prosecutions for the war in Kosovo. He also spent 7 years prosecuting organized crime cases in Boston for the Justice Department. So we have somebody who has experience in war crimes, crimes against humanity, and organized crime. And he's brought on to assist the team, Jack Smith's team, in the 2 cases against Trump, the 2 criminal cases against Trump, the January 6th insurrection and the Mar-a-lago documents case. Now, I think any one of my viewers here could make the connection between Trump and organized crime, entertainment purposes only and all that. But, you know, I would not be the first person on the internet to comment that other people on the internet refer to Donald Trump as acting like a crime boss, a mafia boss. So it would make sense you'd bring an organized crime. Hell, Fonnie Willis brought in an organized, a prosecutor that was a RICO specialist against organized crime. So this is not new. But there's a war crime aspect about this that is intriguing. And so, you know, it's like, okay, well, what is a war crime? You know, it's like you hear the term war crime. What is it exactly? You can come up with some ideas. But looking up in Google, murder, extermination, enslavement, torture, forcible transfers of populations, imprisonment, rape, persecution, enforced disappearance, and apartheid are among others that they refer to as crimes against humanity or war crimes. These are actually crimes against humanity. Now, I want you to think about some of these. Now, we'll get rid of murder and extermination and enslavement per se, but enslavement would be like human trafficking. Forcible transfers of population. That's interesting. You know, not letting people come in and honoring treaties and then separating the children from the parents and then kicking the parents out of the country. What happened with the kids? Have they been enslaved? What about the people, immigrants that come in looking for work and then they get moved from Florida and dumped at Martha's Vineyard and places like that? You know, does that count as a forcible transfer of populations? You know, persecution, COVID, you know, blue states, stuff like that. I'm really wondering if Jack Smith's case is broadening, if there's a crime against humanity aspect to it. Are we starting to see that by bringing this person in? It's almost like if the investigation has made the connection between Donald Trump and the Trump administration and crimes against humanity, and you bring in somebody who's an expert in that field. Is that why he was brought in? I mean, again, he's got organized crime experience and he's worked with Jack Smith before. So yeah, you could probably have that and that would be simple. But is it even bigger than that? That's where I'm going with this. Okay, so 4 minutes in, long time to explain, but that's why I wanted to get you onto this page here with me. Entertainment purposes only. Alan Whiting, I believe is the fellow's name again. Let me grab it up here. Yeah, Alex Whiting, excuse me. Okay, so Spirit, Alex Whiting. Could you give me a little bit of background? What's the story behind him? Why was he brought into Jack Smith's legal team here? Okay. 2 of Swords. I'm immediately drawn to 2 levels of expertise. I realize this is a card of crossroads, but it could be that, you know, Jack Smith his team has uncovered evidence about 2 different aspects that this guy would be an expert in. So now we're looking at war crimes and we're looking at mafia type work. And he's got the expertise in this, and he can help guide them. I got the moon card here. He can help provide insight and guidance as to how the investigations go. That doesn't mean there's going to be a prosecution on this. But if you're going to investigate it, bring in somebody who's an expert in the field to help you guide that investigation to see if there's any there. And that's what I mean, Queen of Swords. He's the type of person who's going to be able to tell you, yes, this happened. No, it didn't happen. So it's going to be a very nonpartisan, very intellectual, cut and dry opinion that he will get from Alex Whiting. And it's going to impact how the Justice Department proceeds with their prosecutions and further investigations. So he was brought in for both. And he's brought in to basically look at that data, get more data, and help provide a subject matter expert or an expertise to the decisions. Is this just a mafia type crime, or is this a crime against humanity? In the past, we've got the Nine of Wands. He's been a very busy person. Again, working at the Hague and doing the Kosovo case. And he was probably, just taking a break from some of that work. It's kind of an embattlement and getting ready to battle again. So I think he might have been between projects in what he's doing before. And I did read something that after Jack Smith left that assignment, he filled in for Jack Smith until another person was hired to take Jack Smith's place. So he was like an interim person in charge at The Hague. And so now he could catch a break and relax. And I think they've got him during that downtime. Data was uncovered. Evidence was uncovered. They found a bunch of evidence and they want this guy's expertise on it. And, it's like, I think you hear the Republicans talk about the cannibalistic elite cabal of Democrats and socialists and Masons and whatever it is that QAnon throws out there that run human sex trafficking rings and human trafficking rings and such. We'll take the cannibalism part out of it. But yeah, that's been going on because human trade has probably been around forever and it's lucrative. I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't engage in such things, but it's been that and prostitution have been around forever. And I think they found evidence of a much wider conspiracy. And now they're bringing this guy in to provide some insight. Sorry, I'm working with my laptop here. Provide some insight as to what's going on with this and how do we proceed? Do we have a case to proceed with here, or should we drop it? Overarching is the magician. Yeah. This guy, Alex Whiting, he can put all the pieces together and understand what's going on. He can take those individual components and make a meal out of it, as it were. So he can find the data. He can take the data that they found here and then put it together to make a case. Now, do they have a case worth prosecuting? That's what depends what comes out with him. Human trafficking. Taking poor people and taking advantage of poor people. Wealthy people taking advantage of poor people. So I think the lesson to be learned in this case is, it could be sex trafficking, but it's definitely human trafficking is what we've got here. And we got a taste of this so many years ago. Do you remember the story of the owner of the New England Patriots was caught at a massage parlor where there were trafficked women, Thai women, I think, that were giving the massages, and he got busted on there, and he basically bought his way out of a court case. I think that was kind of like the cannon shot across the bow of us, letting us know that this was coming, and I think we're about to see a whole lot more of it coming forward here in the very near future. Well, maybe not very near future, but in the near future. it's going to be human trafficking and the money that's exchanged for this human trafficking. When they've got the evidence of this and they decide to go charging on it, they are going to charge people and they're going to move quickly with this. This is going to become a crusade. I think that's the best way to put it. If they've got their January 6th stuff and their Mar-a-Lago stuff, but this is kind of like, that's the immediate stuff that they were hired to prosecute, but there's a bigger underlying current under all this, and that's going to be the human trafficking and the evidence they found for human trafficking. Entertainment purposes only, but that's kind of what I'm getting out of all of this. Let me shuffle these cards up here. What a dark world we live in. Or maybe it's to the point that the darkness has already been there, but now it's being shown to us. Just like with Trump just claiming he's going to drain the swamp. Yeah, he just showed us where all the swamp monsters were and what they were feasting on. He drained the swamp. He didn't remove the swamp monsters. He just took the cover that they had to show us what they were doing. And they don't like that. It's kind of like Bill Barr likes to work behind the scenes, and Trump kept outing him to Bill Barr's annoyance. Okay, so is there a there? Alex Whiting, do you see human trafficking here? There he is. Same dang card at the top. Human trafficking. Keeping a lid on it for now. They're not ready to announce it. But they're building up a case. And they're looking at the money. They're following the money. They're keeping it quiet because it's not really wide known what's going on here. And so they're keeping a low profile as they try and find out who the big players and the elites are on this one. And it's connected to the election interference case, believe it or not. Or this could, if not election interference case, because it's my election interference case card, but this could also be, young people being offered for sale. But I think something in the election interference case, maybe when somebody was cutting a deal, they gave some information on this, and that led to some follow-up and bringing this guy in. Somebody gave up some information to save their bacon, and big information on this one. Okay, so now to the question that a viewer asked me: does Donald Trump have some involvement in this? War crimes or crime? I'm going to say crimes against humanity. Does Donald Trump have some involvement in crimes against humanity? I've shuffled these cards. The Six of Coins is not on top of the deck. If it comes up again, it's because it's supposed to, like on that last one. Cannot believe it got that one on the top. Well, I can believe it because Spirit's being very kind to me today and making it really, really obvious. I always appreciate when it makes it obvious for me. It's a simple or can hit me on the head. Entertainment purposes only. Does Trump have involvement with human trafficking? What was underneath that last one? That election interference, selling young people. In his agreements, I was about to do a 4-card. I'm going to do a 6-carder on this one. I'm going to say yes. Because he has agreements. They're going to be following his election interference and the agreements he had with people. Oh, good Lord. Like I said, Spirit's making it easy on me. And who's benefiting from it? Now, these cards just came up. These 2 cards just came up on that last throw. Here we are again. Sometimes I'm glad I do those little 4-carders. It shows the link between the two. And here, these 2 people, the agreements that Trump made. And it wouldn't be beyond Trump to do human trafficking, especially with countries he's not really excited about, like Haiti or something like that. betrayal, the disappointment, to sell people into slavery is just, it's a betrayal against everything this country stands for. Now, that's kind of an ironic thing to say, because we had slavery for so many years and fought a civil war to try to put an end to it. And, it's back. And we still haven't even dealt with the reparations to the Native Americans that were here, much less any minority group, especially the African Americans, that were taken advantage of. There was never any reparations or compensation or anything like that. I know that Melissa, your free range psychic, she did a past life reading on Trump, and she saw him involved in the slave trade. And it's like, here we go again. He's never gotten out of that energy, and he's still doing it in this lifetime. Is Trump involved in human trafficking? You got a pair of threes here. That disappointment, that betrayal against everything that is loving and good. And it's overseas. It's overseas trafficking. It's not just, folks in the U.S. It's countries outside. So what comes to mind? African countries that are constantly at war, and I'm forgetting the name, Sudan, or, countries where, basically it's going to be a lot of African countries, I'm assuming, is where a lot of the trafficking is. You'll get some Southeast Asian countries, but I'm being drawn to African countries on this. And Trump wouldn't care. He wouldn't give a damn about anybody from an African country, because he's racist and he considers blacks to be inferior to whites. And that would just be, it fits. It just fits his MO. They would be shithole countries using his words. Knight of Cups. False friend. It's just, I look at this as the trading of humans and the negotiations for the trade of humans. It's almost like you'd set up a charity, or you'd set up some organization that's supposed to help displaced kids and women in war-torn countries, and then you offer them up as sex slaves or other things to other countries. So this is a worldwide phenomena involving countries at war, and refugees, of course. And think about all the refugee crisis that's going on, and the vilification of refugees and such, causing wars, forcing them to flee, and then you can just pick who you want from those and have them disappear. Nobody's going to miss them in that mass of refugees. And it's women. It's girls and women that are the prized possessions. They're being held hostage. They're being held against their will. They're the valuable commodity in this whole thing. And it's, how come it's the Ten of Wands? I think there's going to be an overwhelming amount of evidence that's going to start linking the Trump administration to this behavior. And it's going to, I think what this is also saying, it's going to expose how prevalent it is and how widespread it is. And it's going to be overwhelming to think about how we even begin to address it. It's like it's such a big problem. And there's so much money involved with it that this is going to be one of those things that's going to take decades to resolve. And by decades, I'm talking, 30 years comes to mind. Like an entire generation is going to need to be spent trying to decouple and stop this whole process. Good God. This reading got really heavy, and I didn't throw out my my obsidian or my tourmaline here on this one. Okay, I'll need to fill up with light after this reading. Good, this is heavy. This got heavy really quick. I suspected it might go that way, but I was trying to be very open-minded that it may not. That that this guy Alex Whiting got in because he's a mafioso expert, and they want to really nail Trump and his motives being like mafioso related, but it looks like there's something much, much bigger afoot in here. And this again, this would be something that Trump would find, of course, entertaining. Jeffrey Epstein and trafficking teenage girls. This is just an extension of that. Except, why just limit yourself to teenage girls? It's like, Epstein was just like a little specialist in one section in this giant market of human trafficking. Will Trump be held to account for crimes against humanity, human trafficking? Will Trump be held to account for this? Now, held to account, I guess, can mean anything. We could be talking spiritual or legally or something like that. But will he be held to account for this? The backroom dealings, I think they're going to I don't think this is like, we're not going to talk about this. I don't look at this as a plea negotiation. I'm looking at a much bigger picture. I think they're going to look and see what he was doing in this black market of human trafficking. The agreements that he had, the relationships that he had involved with this, the human trafficking, and it puts an end in there. Good. Do any of those cards look familiar? I mean, this is the only one that's new. This ends, not that Trump is going to have a legacy, but this is going to put an end to everything. I think Trump's involvement is going to be shown quite clearly, but because of his involvement in America's involvement, this is going to be one of those things that's going to energize a worldwide initiative going after these people in this trade. I would be naive, overly optimistic to think it would happen overnight or even over a few years. We're looking at decades. Even a decade from now would not be enough time to really, a decade we might be starting to get a handle on it, but you've got to pass laws, you've got to get treaties, you've got to get other countries involved with the investigations. You need to start dismantling the mechanisms with which they are getting people to traffic, and like waste. Now the whole logistical hub, it's gonna take decades to get through all this, but this is just going to be one of those things that global climate change is going to be a decades-long thing. This is going to be right up there with it, from what I'm getting on this. It's going to be like that 1-2 punch of the big things. Like if you're looking in the history books 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they're going to be looking at this time from 2020 to 2050 as starting to address climate change and human trafficking. That sort of window of things. Knocking on wood that I'm right on them addressing it. Not knocking on wood that it's there, but what's there is there. But I'm hoping now we're actually addressing it. All right. Thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Sorry it's a heavy reading, but I opened up the door. Got to relate the message that I get on it. Thank you for supporting my channel and interacting with the YouTube algorithm so that this video gets out to new viewers. To those new viewers, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful and hope to catch you and see you on the next one. Take care.